So, as I said, welcome to the ancient lands. So, that we were looking at Atlantis the last time, and today I picked up another very ancient land.
Please.
Yes.
So good, Subham, let me introduce you. Good morning.
Thank
So
you.
yes, Miss Minocha, healer, I think plant life regression therapist, and she spoke about this topic about Atlantis and how does the spirituality in Atlantis. Now she's speaking about Lemuria. So over to you, Miss Minocha now.
Thank you so much, Ria. I'm sorry I forgot that you had to introduce me.
No, that's okay. That's
Okay.
okay.
So here, as I said, we are talking about ancient lands, and we looked at Atlantis, and we are looking at Lemuria now. And we are all familiar with this map, right? We are well aware of the distances involved, like Africa to Australia, India, all so far away, right? So there's no way of connecting them other than, of course, the ship and airways, of course. But scientists are connecting these places. They're connecting all these three places in a very easy way. And you know how, through a very simple thing, they have found a small species, an animal called lemur. And this is connecting these places, like the three continents, in fact. So these Lemuria theories, they became popular in 1864 when a British zoologist, Philip Sclater, he wrote an article, a paper, entitled The Mammals of Madagascar. And what he observed, that there were many species of lemur in Madagascar and in India too. And these are not sea animals, these are land animals. And he found the lemur fossils in extreme abundance in both these places. But they were entirely missing from Africa and the Middle East. From the mainland of Africa, they were missing. They were there on the island of Madagascar. So he proposed that during some point in the past, these land masses were connected. And this land mass was given the name of Lemuria, again connecting it to the lemurs, because these are what the fossils have been found in both the places. And that is what is connecting these two land masses. And not just these two land masses, but even Australia. So this was a map that was created by him. And he connected that this continent of Lemuria existed, which connected these three places, Madagascar, India, and Australia as well, because in सब में इनके लेमुर के जो ना fossils मिले थे. That is what they keep researching, the scientists, and that is what they found. And he put the theory that eventually this part of the continent, it sank to the ocean floor. Then there was another scientist. Yeah, this was the map that he created that has come down to us, that all these land masses were one huge place, one huge continent. Then there was this scientist, Alfred Wallace, and he also proposed in 1859 that the fauna and flora of these three places were so much similar together, and they were similar to an island in the Indonesia as well. So all had to be connected for the similarity to happen. And even there have been many scientists, and another one was Etienne Saint Hilaire, and he brought a theory even 20 years before Sclater, before the earlier one. He proposed the theory of Lemuria, because he was also examining the relationship between the animals in Madagascar and Australia and India and all those. And he was saying that hundreds of species were found in the flora and fauna which could not be otherwise available unless these lands were connected. So he also proposed it. But he didn't give a name to the continent. It was Philip Sclater who gave the name of Lemuria to it, connecting it to the lemurs, of course. And even the rock formations, according to the geologists, they match a lot. The earth is not as stable as we regard it to be. All the land masses, they rest on tectonic plates, that we saw last time also. And these can move anytime. And then there are mountains of ice on the surface of the earth, and they can also melt anytime. So both these things can cause a lot of destruction. So if the land moved beneath your feet, what can you do? Or if the water level rose, what can you do? So we are totally helpless in the face of nature, you could say. And currently we can see that global warming is causing a lot of changes in the environment. And when we look into the history of the world, this is nothing new. It has happened many times before. And it has caused many civilizations, many land masses to just disappear. So in every religion, we have the story of a great flood. So we have been listening to that from ages. And even geological findings show that land masses existed where they are no longer there. They've disappeared under the water. Coming back to Lemuria, there is no record of its existence. But in the case of Atlantis, we can again get information from the Akashic records, which the psychics access. However, what we are looking at Lemuria, the one that we are going to look at, what the Sclater pinpointed as Lemuria, it may not be the original Lemuria that we are looking at right now, the one connecting India and Australia and all, because this has been confirmed by scientists that the huge landmass existed in the south of India. In 1903, V.J. Surya Kumar, he gave the name of Kumari Kandam to it. So what Sclater was calling Lemuria, we call it Kumari Kandam. And he even connected, the scientist even, Surya Kumar, he even said it to be the land of Ravana, जो हमारी जो history में आते हैं. And he also showed that this continent extended from India to Australia to Madagascar, connecting all the three landmasses. So whatever information we've got about Atlantis and Lemuria, they have come through the Akashic records. But the existence of this landmass of Kumari Kandam, it has been mentioned in Tamil records. So there is some concrete evidence about its existence, and it was supposed to be under the rule of the Pandya rulers. And their rule extended to almost the whole of India. The earlier map that I showed, it was connecting the whole landmass together. And there is another very authentic, you could say, pointer that it existed, because mention of Kumari Kandam is there in our old folk songs as well. जो हमारे पुराने होते हैं ना, वो तो कई, they're not recorded anywhere, they just come down through word of mouth. And उसमें, उन गानों में, there is mention of Kumari Kandam. So many Tamil historians have also recorded the evolution of mankind, and they say that it did not happen from the African continent as it is like what the scientists are saying, but actually from this continent of Kumari Kandam. And from here, it spread to the rest of the world. So these are the Pandya rulers that were supposed to be there. So the original men were there in Kumari Kandam also. So not from Africa as it is believed. So it was the cradle for the rest of the world. Then there was another scientist, Ernest Haeckel. He was a marine biologist. He also discovered and named thousands of new species, created a genealogical map connecting all of them. And he published it all in his book of History of Creation. And in that too, he has promoted the theory of evolution, and he has considered that the earliest humans could have descended from primates, because what they have found, they resemble a lot. And he also placed the cradle of humanity in Asia, Africa, and this lost continent in the Indian Ocean. So there is some acceptance in the scientific community of its existence, that there was some place over there. And from there, he simply called it paradise. This scientist, he gave it the name paradise. And he showed that people from there moved away. Because when about 14,000 years ago, when this landmass began to sink, people became aware that it was going to happen. So they migrated to different parts of the world. Here, this map clearly shows that from this paradise, what was there, you can see the lines are going all over the world. And they're starting from here to Australia, to almost the whole of Asia, even to America. They're saying they passed on from there. So this was the cradle from where everyone went, to Africa as well. So people migrated to different parts carrying their knowledge, because Lemuria, this Kumari Kingdom was supposed to be a very advanced kingdom. And they carried their knowledge and gave birth to many new civilizations. So according to researchers, the sea levels were at least 100 meters below the current ones. And even 10,000 years ago, they were 60 meters below the current levels. So kitna pani utha hoega, kitna landmass uske niche chala gaya hoega. So as we said, we get the information about this land from Tamil literature. It was a very advanced literature, very advanced kingdom. बहुत अच्छी तरह से बना हुआ था, like a lot of activities were happening there. And we get the information from some of the old texts, the old literature. So Silipadikaram is one of the 5 Mahakavyas of Tamil literature, and it mentions Kumari Kandam. It mentions it as a very advanced kingdom, and that it was the kingdom of the Pandya kings, and it got submerged. And they even mentioned 2 rivers, Paroli and Kumari, that it existed in Kumari Kandam. Then we also get reference from the Bhagavad Puran, where it is mentioned that a Tamil sage, he wrote a book, Antiran, and it talks about a Tamil Sangam, and which was held across the Kumari River. Now, Sangam is an event where famous poets and scholars from different states, they gather together to discuss things, to share their knowledge. And it has been mentioned that three of these Sangams were held in Kumari Kandam. And but the continent was not referred to as Kumari Kandam. That is what the later scientists have given the name, because Kumari was one of the rivers there. They found that it was mostly referred to as the Pandya kingdom. And this reference to the Pandya kingdom is also found in another text, the Kanda Purana, which is a Tamil version of the Skand Puran. Now, these Pandya kings are supposed to have ruled the kingdom for 11,000 years. And in one of the, maybe the first or the last Sangam, it was held in the capital of Madurai, not the present day one. There was a Madurai there, it was a kingdom. Because what the literature says, that Kumari Kandam was divided into 49 parts, and 7 parts formed this province of Madurai. Sangam may, in that what the records have come down, Sangam may 4,000 and more than 4,000 poets participated. And even gods are supposed to have participated in it. They say that Kuber, Murugan, Shiva were all part of that Sangam. And it lasted for thousands of years. Like what has come down, in the 4,000 years that Sangam lasted. And during that time, 89 of the kings, Pandyan kings, ruled over that area. Now, the idea of Lumeria as a lost cradle of humankind isn't discussed by only scientists, but by esoteric societies also. So a Russian lady, Helen Blavatsky, she's a very famous occultist of those times. And she had incredible psychic, not of those times, of course, of our recent times, more the 18th century and 19th century. She had incredible psychic abilities. Like she could even solve murder cases. And in fact, usko itni knowledge thi ek murder case ki that she became the prime suspect for that case until it was solved. So she published her book, The Secret Doctrine, in 1888. in which she gives a lot of fascinating information about Lemuria. And she also proposed that Lemuria was the cradle of one of the 7 races of humanity. And millions of years ago, a humanoid race existed along with the dinosaurs. So like Earth has been inhabited for a very long time. And what she has told that these were beings, very tall beings, 15 feet tall, and they had 4 arms and very odd eyes. So they were 4-armed creatures, very tall, gangly looking. This is a movie version of what she has said. And even our ancient texts, according to her, they have shown our deities are depicted with 4 arms. So ancient texts have plenty of legends which sound unreal, but there is a basis in reality. Like our most revered story, it is of Lord Rama and his monkey army, who built the bridge between India and Sri Lanka. And the satellite images have shown that this bridge exists. There is no doubt about it. There was this ancient bridge connecting to the 2 lands. And even the story of how this bridge was built has come down to us, that a lot of survey and a lot of planning went into it. And even details about the materials used for construction, all has been given. And like very precisely, they laid a foundation and then they laid boulders on top, bigger ones, then smaller ones. पूरा अच्छी तरह तरीके से plan करके किया था. And the former director of Geological Survey of India, Dr. Badrinath, when they were exploring, he was very surprised with the alignment of the whole thing. So they said that proper alignment has been done to the bridge. The movie pictures have come down that they did it in a very precise manner. So a lot of effort and planning was put into its construction. So it was definitely man-made. And the age has, of course, been put to more than 7,000 years, which was the Ramayana period also. And the scientists even speculate that maybe the Vanara or the monkey army was the predecessors of the modern man. Us time, मतलब अभी तक चल ही रही थी सारी जो evolution वाले process. It was not finished. Now, this ancient Tamil literature of South India, it is believed to predate both the Sumerian and the Egyptian civilizations. So it can be called the first civilized human race. So the earliest literature that has come down is from that Sangam. The Sangam literature has come down, which talks about a very flourishing civilization, which is now submerged. So Tamil people, they believe in the existence of this lost continent, and they believe that it is their original place, and it got submerged in the last ice age. In fact, Tamil तो कहते हैं कि पूरी humanity वहीं से आई. So it is the foundation of many enlightened cultures. But as I mentioned earlier, this Kumari Kandam may not be the Lemuria that was mentioned by the psychics like Helen Blavatsky and Edgar Cayce and other psychics जो भी थे. So there's yet another continent to explore. ये तो एक है ही है. Now this another continent was in the Pacific Ocean beyond Australia. ये ऑस्ट्रेलिया से भी आगे माना जाता है. So it was a pretty big continent, and it has been given the name of Mu, M-U, just simply. Those scientists say that it could be because Mu is in Lemuria, so it could be Mu is part of Lemuria. And like the fate of Atlantis and Kumari Kandam, it also sank beneath the ocean. So could be because again of the rising sea levels or because of volcanic activities, but it collapsed. And only a few islands remain in that area. The most prominent one is Hawaii. So Hawaii is supposed to be a remnant of the Lemuria continent. So even some coastal islands जो है ऑस्ट्रेलिया का जैसे Tasmania hai, it is also considered to be there. So a lot of these small islands are there, which could be remnants. उस time में बहुत वो elevation होएगी, peaks होएंगे, mountains होएंगे. So they have become the islands over here now. Now, to understand about this continent, Lemuria, we need to go further back in time. because it is dating back to almost 12 million years ago. In fact, like we talk about Atlantis as a legend, the people of Atlantis used to talk about Mu as a legend, a myth, because there was no, again, records about it. But we come to know from Edgar Casey's sessions, because again, as we know, he accessed the Akashic records. That's a place from where knowledge cannot be erased. So Mu was a continent in the Pacific Ocean and the home to the first root race. Like we are the 6th or the 7th one. And at that time, the first root race came down to Lemuria. So they were not in human form as we are. They were more like thought forms, you could say. That's a totally different story. But at that time, there was not much life. So it was not कि बहुत ज़्यादा population हुई थी, बहुत सारे ऐसे entities were there. So nothing like what we know today, the animals or the human life. So Earth was at a very basic level at that time. And other planets were much more advanced. तो अब ये galaxy पूरी create क्यों हुई है? It is like, what is the purpose of the whole galaxy? It has been created by source, by a creative source, and it is filled with the love of God. And the whole scenario, whole system is inclined towards balance, to bring in life, to bring in completion. So those are the objectives of the universe, to like create something extraordinary. And within our galaxy, जो हमारी 9 planets की galaxy है, each planet has been populated one by one at a time. So the beings on the planet, on each planet, their DNA was altered slightly, you could say. So it was like you could say it was called a process of spiritual seeding. वहां से divine was creating these things, these humans, these living beings, whatever they were at that time. So, and this spiritual seeding was to include a portion of divinity. That divinity is multidimensional. So the creations, the beings that were on earth, they had to have that portion of divinity. And this was like a test, which was lasting thousands of years. And this test is to see and discover the God inside themselves. What we are taught in spirituality now, that God is within us and we have to connect to him. That was the whole test. As simple as that, with the most difficult test. So they have to discover the God inside themselves, their own divinity, their connection with the creative source. So it's a very benevolent creation system. There is nothing wrong in it. क्योंकि अर्थ के ऊपर जब आते हैं तो अर्थ makes the you could say the souls heavier, the creations they're heavier, तो वो heaviness अर्थ पे आके आ जाती है. So it's like a challenge for us that despite that heaviness, we still have to find that benevolence in the creative system. Now, on the planets where these creations, these beings that were sent there, they discovered their divinity. We'll call them humans only for convenience. They were sent there to discover their divinity. Once they discovered it, they have permission to go into an ascension status. They are able to go beyond that, where they merge with that ultimate reality. And when all the people of that planet are able to do that, they become an ascended planet. It's called an ascended planet. And once it has it has become ascended, another planet in the galaxy is chosen. And then the sacred DNA is passed on to those beings that are created there. Similarly, with a free choice, humans also incarnate on earth to be spiritually seeded, to get that seed in them. And this seed, this जो spiritual seeding वाली part है, it gives them a few abilities, you could say. So one is to embody a soul. They are able to be part of a body. Body is there to encase that soul. Then second, they become aware of light. They become aware of a higher consciousness. that there is some kind of energy which can take them to a different dimension. And this they can only become aware of when there is darkness. अब light क्या है? जब तक dark नहीं होगा हमें नहीं समझ आएगी कि light क्या है. So only on earth they can experience this and then attain that benevolence that the creation has created for them. And every planet is given in charge of some divine beings. So Earth was given in charge to the Pleiadians. जो Pleiadian star system है, वहां से the beings came and they are our spiritual parents, you could say. They can be called as spiritual parents. They are the ones who have helped us grow, added that DNA to us. So if you look at old stories of tribal stories and all, usme a lot of mention of the Pleiadian star system has been made because they are the creator. So when you think of that question, who are we? Where did we come from? So we can have an answer in this way, that we are a combination of an organic human grown on this planet. So humans are grown on this planet, blended with the sacred DNA of ascended beings known as the Pleiadians. So we are part of this earth human and the Pleiadians as well. So we can look at the star system over here. There is a star system constellation Orion, and uske idhar jo hai na, ye plates hai. This is plates. So the three stars of Orion, they connect directly to the plates. They point towards the plates. And this is a star system of cluster of 7 stars. And they even call 7 sisters. There's a mythological tale about it, which I'm not going into it. Now, we have come to know about a lot of these things from the Akashic records, from Helen Blavatsky, from Edward Casey, and many others as well. There is another way of knowing about these systems, about all these things, which are not there in written form anywhere, and that is through channeling. So there was one entity who's named as Crayon, and he has channeled, like people have channeled him. He's come through a lot of people who are mediums, who are able to channel. And he has given a lot of information about this origin of the earth, how mankind started and everything. So according to what he has channeled, what the information has come through him, a timeline has been created. A timeline of humanity has been created. So we can look at the time 2 million years ago. Mankind, things started even before that, but we are starting from here. That at that time, there were 17 kinds of human beings, a variety of human beings in different forms, you could say. Like there were still experimentations going on, like which is the best form to be in, because this human form did not come immediately. And this, even before that, there were 26 varieties. By the time 2 million years ago, 17 kinds were present. And this was what was given to the Pleiadians to कि अब यहाँ से अब आप करो उसके आगे इनके आगे जो है ना evolutionary processes you have to take over. So when the seeding of the planet was done, 17 kinds of humans were present, and the DNA had to change to allow for the Pleiadian DNA complement to come in. जो spiritual complement था वो Pleiadians ने डालना था, उस time वो आया. Because humanity needed to end up as one human being like what we are today. Along with that DNA, spiritual DNA, तो उस time फिर Pleiadians का ये काम था. Now at that time also, human beings, they were having chromosomes, pairs of chromosomes that biology में we are taught that we humans are created through chromosome pairs. So at that time, so there were 24. They had to be fused to create 23 pairs. And that was the element of the Pleiadian, that it fused them into 23 pairs, ek hata diya, and that gave us the spiritual DNA. So this is the beginning of a spiritual core. That DNA jo reset hua tha, that was our spiritual core. And this happened, you could say, around 2 million years ago. Then 90,000 years ago, by 90,000 years, one human being had emerged. All the other variants had stopped. It was like a process of evolution. जिसका काम नहीं होता वो extinct हो जाता है, तो वो हुआ था. So only one kind of human being now began to live after 90,000 years old. The kind who has that spiritual soul, similar to what we are today. Then about 50,000 years ago, a Lemurian society began to be formed in a very primitive form, of course. So it started to form on the continent of Mu. MU वाला Mu जो था, उसके ऊपर it started forming. Then around 40,000 years ago, we have evidence of aboriginals. We are all aware that they were backward people who just lived in the wild, tribal people. The aboriginals who are living in Australia, they are at least 40,000 years ago. And we have seen that Mu was next to Australia. So they probably migrated from there. So they are the oldest living culture in the world, you could say. Then by 30,000 years ago, Lemuria was in full development, representing a proper human civilization with awareness and everything. And in fact, the Lemurians set the Akashic records for humanity. So, and because before that there was no concept of it, no evidence or nothing about it. So इन्होंने जो है ना, the Lemurians were very advanced, and they were able to set it because they were not of just this realm, they were of the other realm also. And they were being taught by their Pleiadian star mothers, because the Pleiades were in charge of Earth, so they were teaching the people also here. So what has been understood, that those who lived on Mu, Jews time, they were of a very earth-based nature, but they were very gentle and lived in harmony. And they worked with the crystalline forces of minerals. The crystals के साथ बहुत काम करते थे. So even at Atlantis, we saw that there was a huge crystal which was giving power to the entire continent. And the people in Lemuria, they were very highly evolved beings, because उनको education ही वहाँ से मिल रही थी, star system से, spiritual beings से. They had great telepathic abilities. And they had access to limitless life force energy, you could say. So when you are in connect with that limitlessness, you have good manifestation and healing powers also. So they were able to manifest anything. And then they were like, as I said, they were just not of this world. They were multi-dimensional beings. So they could move between realms. So वो वापस वहाँ पे भी, they could go to the other realm and then be over here also. And another thing, that they could even move backwards and forwards in time. पीछे भी जाके देख सकते थे, आगे भी जाके देख सकते थे. So they were familiar with all the dimensions and could go anywhere to gain information or to share their wisdom. कहीं पे भी जा सकते थे वो. So they were connected to the other planets in the universe. And it was a very advanced, flourishing kind of society, civilization at that time. Then around 15,000 years ago, the continent began to sink. Because as I said, it could have been due to the melting of ice, mountains, or it could have been because of volcanic activity beneath the earth. So they started to sink, and only the few islands that I showed, Hawaii and all those, were left. But people were aware that the continent is sinking, so they started to migrate from there. So they went to, of course, the neighboring areas, Australia, China, Japan side guy, and even towards the Americas, North and South America. And in fact, there is one place in California, Mount Shasta. Was anything? Yeah, there was another thing that 12,500 years, sorry, 5,000 likha, 12,500 years ago, here, Crayon has also channeled that the pyramids are 12,500 years ago against what the scientists say it is 5,000 years old. So यहाँ से भी ये भी पता चलता है कि they are much more ancient than what we know. Yeah, I was talking about this place in, I just stopped share. in California. It's called Mount Shasta. And it is supposed to be deeply connected to Lemuria. People in fact say that there's a whole community of Lemurians living under that mountain or within that mountain. It's a fifth dimensional place, and a lot of paranormal activities have been seen to happen over there. Like the energies of that area are totally different. And there are a lot of like lights also sometimes that are seen over there, out otherworldly kind of lights. Okay, so the Lemurians, why are we talking about it now? Is the Lemurians are bringing a message to all of us at the moment. That what they're saying is that at the moment, a lot of Lemurians have incarnated on Earth, and they're trying to raise the consciousness of the planet so that people remember their origins, that they're not human beings, they're multidimensional beings. So they're trying to make humanity realize that we need to connect to that source, to learn from our ancestors, to learn from the lost civilizations that came before us. In fact, right now we are facing a parallel story of Lemuria and Atlantis by working against the laws of nature. We are not working with them, we are working against them. So again, humanity is heading towards a possible erasing of life from the earth. So the message of the Lemurians is that learn from these past things and do things differently this time. And for that to happen, the shift has to start from within ourselves. Each of us is important and responsible. So when we move out of our own drama and power struggles, जिसमें हम फंसे रह जाते हैं, we create space for light to come in, for the life force to flow easily. So we can build on our own inner power and connect to that divine energy, which is ever present and always ready to connect to us. And the more deeply we connect, the more the frequency of the earth will rise. So each of us has to take that responsibility to improve our own selves. We are not responsible for others. But when we improve ourselves, the others too will get affected. And unme bhi changes aayega, they will also get uplifted. So you're not just working for yourself, you're working for whole of humanity, for whole of the earth. So that is the message of the Lemurians. So thank you. I end my discourse over here now. And next time I will be looking into more deeply into the qualities of Atlantans and Lemurians. And also we'll be sharing a quiz for you people to check what star seed you could be connected to. So thank you so much. Anyone would like to?
Meenu, this class was fabulous. And I've been reading a book called The Law of One. I don't know if you've read that.
Yes, I'll be talking about the next time. Yes.
I'm reading that book of Law of One, and lots of incidents from there. You are picking it up and reading, because even I'm quite connected to this, to what you have spoken. Okay, I want to know more about it, and how to shift yourself to a different level, because as they say, until you shift your consciousness, there'll be so many disasters now in this world.
Right.
For the human being to survive. Until you have the shift, that survival is not going to be there.
Absolutely.
So that is what I have read. And that is why nowadays you see more and more people are into the spiritualism and conscious talks. And improving yourself either by Bhagavatam or whatever motivational talks or whatever. The reason is that once you start improving on your conscious level goes up, you are not affected by the outer world.
Absolutely.
So I'm quite enthralled by your talk, and I'm really loving it. And I hope you can come up with more, because when I'm reading many things I'm not able to, but with your diagrams and all, I was just reading it. It was going above my head. My friend is a person who's read a lot of law, from Law of One, Law of Two, Law of Three. She's the one who explains me also quite a bit. But since today you really explained quite a bit, I don't know from which book you've taken, or which book have you followed?
I've taken a few books from the net, like ebooks. So I've gone through them. I don't remember the names, of course. There's one, Women of Lemuria. There's another, Lost Continent. So, and then more information from the net is,
Acha,
yeah.
acha. So, wait, but if you start reading on that law of 1, 2, 3, most of these things are covered in that,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of Akashic records in that.
Mhm.
Even now, these people from outer world is speaking and they are recording it. I
Absolutely.
don't know if it is true or not. I am just reading it because my friend told me to read it.
Look, the universe, the divine, he is not destructive. He wants us to prosper. He wants us to grow.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
is why all these job stars, mothers, you could say, who were helped us earlier, they are reincarnated now to help mankind to uplift themselves. Because
Correct, correct.
see where the earth is heading, and they don't want that to happen. But अब यहाँ वाले समझेंगे तभी तो कुछ होएगा ना.
Exactly. वही हम भी समझे, and they are coming in different forms in the local language of the people. Some
Yes.
people understand by motivational talk, some people understand by Bhagavatam, some people understand by Quran or Christianity, whatever. But they want to come and tell that message,
Uh-huh.
how to have your life in the right way,
Uh-huh.
So very, very nice. Thank you very much. So
Thank
I would like to hear some question and answer if there's anybody, because even it will clear a lot of doubt.
Right.
Meenuji, that was very nice, and I was really looking forward to it. For a long time, I've been looking forward to a talk.
Philomena, are you speaking? Your voice is very low.
Yeah, now you can hear me?
No, it's still very low.
Oh my gosh, now what do I do about it? I'm talking as loudly as I can.
Okay. You can keep your mobile near your mouth then.
Okay, now? Hello?
Yeah, Hanji.
As I said,
Uh-huh.
I've been looking forward to this for a long, long time, maybe some years. Because about some 20 years back, I did some course called Siddha Healing, spiritual Siddha Healing. And in that, this guru had taught us something called Lemurian temple healing. And it was all about crystals. And the way he spoke looked like it was more like a crystal kingdom than a human body kingdom, like, mind. And I felt very, very vaguely, I even still feel that, I may have been there and something like a priestess or something like that, and I would like to know what I have done there that I wasn't, not very positive or something like that. I don't know. I want to confirm that. So I'm glad that you put this up and you're going to give us a quiz, and I would like to confirm whether I did belong here. Or
Sure. I'll be talking more about that, as Ruchiraji has mentioned about the law.
Meenuji, can you repeat the question, because what Philomena ji asked? If you can repeat the question.
No, she wants to have more information about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't catch any question if she was saying, because the voice is still very low.
Yeah, we couldn't hear. That's why we asked. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Philomena ji, did you ask a question? Would you like to repeat it?
No, I didn't ask a question.
No, you were just generally saying about it. Yes.
Just a wish that I would like to know
Yeah.
if I was a part of that
Yes.
civilization.
So I'll be taking that up. There's a questionnaire sort of thing that I've come across. I'll share that in the next session. So that gives you pointers to which star seed system you could belong to. It's either Atlantis, Lemurian. There's one more, Avalon, which I'll be taking up next time. So
Meenuji, I wanted to ask one more thing.
Yeah.
Even in Kailash Parvat, there is a lot of differences. Some say there is life inside the Kailash Parvat, as you said, like Atlantis and all. They say a lot of energy is happening. Of course, we are using the word Shiva, that is Shiva's abode. But Shiva also must have been a very strong character, which is creating some kind of a thing there. And if you can read more about Kailash Parvat, because many foreigners, like Indians, will not say, Hinduism will not say there is any life, because they say it's only abode of Shiva
Yeah.
and his kingdom is there. But even if the kingdom of Shiva is there, they say there are people there, but in human dimensions, we are not able to see it.
Right.
I would like you to just give us more light on this.
I wanted to do a session on Kailash Parvat, but somehow I just couldn't do it. Like there was so much information you could say, or I was not capable of doing it. That is what I felt. That's why I dropped the idea. Then मैं कौन होती हूँ उनके बारे में बात करने वाली? So whatever you can understand, I'll try it later on once I finish with this. So let's see if I can manage to do something on, because earlier I did try to, I could not go beyond just initially reading about it. So मैं कभी time नहीं आया उनके बारे में समझने का. So then I dropped it. So there's always a time when things come to you.
Yeah. So next time, if you do get any messages or any content on, I'm quite deeply, really from my deep heart, I want to know more. If there is anything like Lumeria or Atlantis, which is there in Kailash Parvat, okay, if you get to read about it. I've not found any book till now.
No, but these places are not connected to Kailash Parvat. I have not come across anything of that kind.
Acha. So
Mount
but
Shasta के साथ connection है because it was next to Lemuria, you could say. So Kailash Parvat is something totally different.
but the energy there is,
Energy
as you
is of
said,
course there. It's a deep source of energy that is definitely there. Nobody can even go on it or go anywhere near it. That is absolutely true. But इनके साथ connection, because these are power centers, energy centers, you could say, all over the earth. There are some places on the earth which are connected, which still have that connection with that divinity or universe or whatever source of energy is there. तो जैसे हमारे सारे temples have been built on these power points also, energy
because some
centers.
say that it is the center of the earth, some say Jerusalem is the center of the earth.
Jerusalem is definitely not. This would be the center of the earth.
No, I was reading sometime back in some book that Jerusalem, that area, was the center of the earth. But we don't know. See, everybody has its own. Some
Right.
scientists will read and give that information. So just I want to know more about it.
I think we can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was muted. So,
And
like knowledge is the Hanji, yes, Philomena, you're saying something?
yeah, for a little while, it was frozen. Was it my mobile or
No,
you?
I lost connection. I lost the connection.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss even a word of what you said.
So no, I was just winding up that there is a vast reservoir of information, knowledge, you could say, out there. And I keep asking that let me connect it to that knowledge so that I can bring it over here as well. So let's see how much I can bring over here.
And we want to know how that knowledge can be used by individuals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you said that can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said that the Lemurians and why we are speaking on this is because they have some messages for us. But you know what? I feel that majority of us are not receiving, or majority of the people out there are not receiving the messages because they are still blind and going on journey of their own to, fulfill things and dreams which are not really spiritual. So, yeah, that's been a thought with me.
Because when we get connected to the earth, as I said, it causes heaviness in us and it blocks our connection to the divinity. So the challenge over here is to overcome that heaviness. Is that when we are staying here, we are in a lot of negativity. Emotions में फंस जाते हैं, चीजों में फंस जाते हैं, materialistic world में फंस जाते हैं. तो उससे we have to rise above that. And it's very difficult to do it. So each soul has to do that. कोई वो आपको exemption नहीं है किसी का भी. Everyone has to go that path because everyone has a divine spark in them and they have to get connected to it to rise above it all. तो वो struggle चल रही है, and everyone has their own pace, you could say. So that is why a lot of negativity is still there. There are elevated beings also trying to pull them out. So that has been shown very clearly, like Ruchira ji was talking about the law of one. It has been shown over there also. They have talked about it that negativity में फंस जाते हैं, उसमें से निकलना कितना मुश्किल है, and others are helping but still they are not able to come out because the earth pulls them down. So I'll be exploring all that in the next session now. So anything else anyone would like to share, or should we wind up now?
Yeah, Meenuji, quick question. Yeah, first of all, thank you for such nice session. I especially stayed awake just to attend your session tonight. Another thing, क्या एटलांटिस वाले ही लिमोरियन बन गए थे कि अब लिमोरियन वाले एटलांटिस बन गए थे, क्योंकि सारे रीइंकार्नेशन होता है, तो इसका आपके बारे में?
हाँ, quite possible हो सकता है. Lemuria was, as I said, the cradle. In fact, somewhere I had read across what I came across in my DTs, but I couldn't get back to it because पता नहीं कहाँ पढ़ा था कि once they incarnated on Lemuria, they did not come back to Lemuria, they moved on. कि जो उन्होंने वहां सीखना था वो हो गया, अब तुम आगे बढ़ो. तो जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, हम जब we look at the stories of reincarnation हो गई, या इंडिया में पैदा हुए थे तो दोबारा इंडिया में भी पैदा हो गए, या वो उस टाइम नहीं होता था. लेमुरिया वाले they used to move on. So quite possible that from Lemuria people were there on Atlantis also. I hope that answers your question, Meena ji.
Yeah, still I have this question, क्योंकि proof तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता ना,
कुछ नहीं हो सकता. Sorry.
Belief system ही है.
We'll have to get hold of an Edgar Casey or Helen Blavatsky to understand.
We just have to go with the flow. And
Right.
बहुत से लोगों ने, मेरे बहुत सारे जानने वालों को पता चला कि वो एटलांटिस में थे.
Okay.
इंक्लूडिंग मी. तो अभी मैं I'm just waiting कि जो आपका सेशन होगा वो सोल सीड वाला, वहां से मैं पता करूंगी, कंफर्म करूंगी.
ठीक है.
आई थिंक पहले ज्यादा आता था, अब कुछ नहीं आता, अब गोल हो गए. पहले बहुत कुछ आता था एटलांटिस एंड लिमुरियन टाइम पे, अब हम सब लोग बस रोटी बनाने में ही लग गए.
बिल्कुल सही है. Because वो है ना, we get stuck in the material world. Anything else anyone would like to share or ask?
Meenuji, very inspiring session. This is the first time I've heard about Lumeria.
Okay, thank
Can
you.
use it for my daily life as well. Thank you.
So you're also living on an area which could be a part of Lemuria. In fact, they have excavations done under these Indonesian islands. They have found that the islands जो ऊपर हैं, they are of a more recent, you could say, origin, existence or whatever. Below that, there is a landform which is even much older than what is जो ऊपर अभी पानी के है. So that also supports the theory that there was a continent over here which was above land and it has now sunk beneath this ocean, beneath the waters. So this whole area is Kumari Kandam, you could say.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think, Shabanaji, we can wind up now. It's almost 9.
I wanted to ask, who was Cryon?
Crowd was like an entity. Because जब हम channeling करते हैं ना, we connect to some source of information on the other side. Some guide, some entity, they help us to understand things. So jitne bhi, jaise bhi normally channeling is done to get connected to your loved ones who have passed over. The channeling ke through we connect to them. So here, Crayon is an entity who is helping humanity to understand. So many people have been able to, not many, you could say a few psychics, they have been able to connect to him and bring his information, bring his knowledge over here. अब जो चैनलिंग करते हैं वो किसी के साथ तो कनेक्शन होगा ना, तभी उनको इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी about people. Like you get messages from your loved ones who have passed over, you can connect to them and talk to them through mediums who are able to connect to them. वैसे ही Crayon is another such entity.
Is it a good thing to connect to them? I mean, once they're passed away.
Sometimes it is needed. Sometimes ho jata hai. Abhi recently, I'll just share with all of you. I was giving some healing to some gentleman, and he was in a pretty serious case. So he passed away. ICU mein the, he passed away. So around 5-7 days after the death, he was like in his 70s. So his wife called me up, and she was of course crying a lot. So I just, मैंने उनको कह दिया, मैं कहा, they are around you for 13 days, so they remain around you. So they're trying to communicate to you, trying to comfort you. So you have to calm down, sort of, I told her. The next day they had some puja in the house. And after the puja, the daughter and the wife were only left. So they went into their bedroom, father ka bedroom jo tha. वहां पे एक couch पड़ा हुआ था, velvet का. उसके ऊपर very clear footprints. It was so amazing. Like there was no way those footprints could have come over there. She says, इतने लोग नहीं थे घर में, थोड़े से 8-10 ही लोग थे, and nobody went into the bedroom. She even called up a maid कि तू couch पे तो नहीं चढ़ी थी. So she also denied. And anyway, the couch is against the wall, so the footprints were facing the wall. So there was no need for anybody to get onto that couch to face the wall. And she's pretty sure, the daughter, that they are her father's footprints. So they try to communicate with us. So she sent me the picture, and it was totally like mind-blowing. How is it possible, sort of thing. So people from the other side, they are connected over here. They try to communicate. So I wouldn't say there's nothing right or wrong about it. हाँ, परेशान भी हो जाते हैं, but then they want to connect also. So whatever, everything works. Everything is possible. Anything is possible, in fact.
So do you connect? Do you do that channeling?
I'm not a medium, but
No.
sometimes during a session that I do, the past life session, sometimes the loved ones, they come through. So then, जैसे कई बार ना closing नहीं होती है. The person is away and the death has happened, so they're not able to meet at the last moment. So then they are able to connect during that session, and एक उनको ना closing मिल जाती, because then tears come, of course, and they are able to come out of that grief faster then. So it is helpful at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Shivani, should we wind up?
Yes, Meenuji, thank you for such a wonderful session. It was really interesting to know so many things. So
Thank you.
you know.
Thank you,